Many of the birthing better skills are our favorites, and touch, they're all our favorites, really. But touch had a very unique place in this. When you're supporting a woman at a birth, it is by the nature of the experience something in which you want to reach out and touch the woman. And when a woman is giving birth, it is by the nature of the experience that she has to concentrate. So many times women do not like being touched. Not really what they're saying to you. It's just not the right time, or not the right way, or not the right place. So, because they don't have any time and energy to explain that to you, they just flick your hand off or go, "Don't touch me," or "Stop." There, you get growled at. So when Birthing Better families started to develop touch, it became a process. It was quite a journey to do this. And it didn't occur overnight. It occurred through trial and error. And so what you get in this lesson is what we've ended up with. And it is connected to nonverbal and verbal communication. Touch is a nonverbal communication. When you touch a woman in labor, it absolutely must be the right time, the right place, and in the right way. We as birthing women are responsible for helping people to do that. So if you want somebody to touch you and you can't explain it with words, take their hand and put it someplace, or show them what you want them to do. But there was something else that we needed as birth coaches, which was to cue a woman to soften inside her pelvis. It doesn't matter if a woman's shoulders are up here. Babies don't come down your ears, come out your shoulders or your ears. It's the pelvis, and it's the internal tension in the pelvis. So this lesson is going to teach you to use touch as a cue for a woman. Now, why did we use touch rather than verbal communication, like relax here or soften here? Because it's tiring to keep saying that over and over again. So when you learn to do the touch and you have worked together and you put your hand on someone else's body, they know to soften. And this is a skill that you can use throughout life. Both of you need to know what you're doing. The intention is that you soften under the place that's being touched. And that touch is a light touch. It's not grinding. It's not trying to manipulate anything because that's distracting. You're just going to put your hand around the pelvis in one place, hold it there, and the person's going to soften. You will feel that softening. And then I, as a birthing woman, can nod, tell you to go to another place, or you can go to another place. If I don't like it, shake your head, take your hand off, woman nods back, or yes, something, nonverbal communication that tells you yes or no. And that way you'll work together with touch. It's a beautiful, 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 effective form of touch. I want to tell you a story about a birth that I was told. I was not at this birth. The woman in her first birth had taken a very extensive second-degree tear. It's not particularly a major tear. It can be self-healed. But she took a tear that required 100 stitches inside her vagina. That's a lot. It didn't go through the rectum. It didn't go to the rectum. But the inside of her vagina was basically severely lacerated. And they had done some of the internal work, not particularly enough. And they decided to have another baby and have a home birth. And they decided, they didn't really want to do the internal work again. Their first baby was a little over 8 pounds, not particularly large, not particularly small, a little bit above average. Head down, came out, short labor. Longer second stage because she got into a position on her knees and she just tightened up her crotch. And so the baby sort of basically battered its way out of her and left this extensive laceration. And so they went through the positions again, got a little bit clear about what they really wanted to do, but couldn't be shagged to do the internal work. Decided on a home birth, very experienced midwife. The baby came down, and what the father saw was a head and an arm. But what he also saw was the ring of her vagina and white dots all along that rim. Now, what he had been told, and what we've told you, is that those white dots are where the stitches were. There's no blood in those little white dots. And that's where you're more likely to tear again. The midwife was saying to the woman, breathe. The baby looked very big. with a hand there, which is a larger dimension, and then the arm's going to come out as well. So the chances of this woman tearing really badly was very, very real and in the face. But this man had learned the touch. So as the midwife was saying to the woman to relax, and the woman told me later, I didn't, to told her to breathe, and the woman was thinking, I am breathing, what are you talking about? And she didn't know what her vagina looked like. All she could feel was this really big object coming down. So this man just put his finger onto each white area, and they had done the touch. She softened, and he just worked around the vagina. He didn't necessarily work in one order. He just touched where he thought was the whitest, and she softened. And he said as she softened, he could see the vaginal tissue open up and let this baby out. This baby was 11 pounds, 7 ounces with an arm coming up. This is a much bigger head than her previous birth. She didn't tear. What was interesting after the story was told was that the midwife, who's very experienced and comes from this very strong ideology that women will stretch, that birth is natural, and was trying to help the woman by telling the woman to breathe, she did not see that this was a skill that this family learned together. And this is what we have run into for the past 50 years. When you use the Birthing Better skills, don't expect your care providers to know that you are using skills or what skills you're using specifically. They don't need to know. This is your baby's birth. So you use the skills, because this is why we had in one of the other lessons the 3 birth roles. Don't step back. Get involved and help the woman birth. And as a woman, get on with it. You do not have to ask permission to use skills. Nobody will stop you. We have never, ever, 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 ever had any birth professional ever stop a woman from using skills, even though they are doing assessments, monitoring, procedures. In fact, they are delighted. They're thrilled. They love working with skilled families. They may not understand what you are doing, but they love it. They're more relaxed. This is how they wish all births would be. So that's a story. Use it as you wish.